Yeah, I have y'all as the second item.
Yeah, I think so.
We have a liquor
Okay, thank you everyone. We are here on May 7th, 2024 at 11 a.m. for a regular meeting of the Lake County Board of Commissioners. We have the full agenda, so we'll try to move fast. If everyone could turn off their cell phone ringers, I will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you everyone. We'll look over the agenda. Is from staff, is there anything that needs to come off, or is everything's good to go? Great, so I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second motion.
Or I think if you say so moved, then I can second.
So moved.
I think typically the chair tries not to be the one to make a motion. I mean,
Okay.
so I'll second. I don't think there are any further comments, so call for a vote to approve the agenda.
Aye.
Aye, agenda is approved as posted. Community information items, just in the interest of time, we have a very full agenda, so I don't have any informational items or legislative updates. Okay, great. Commissioner Mudge is at a Lower Arc Water Basin meeting, and cannot be in attendance today. So I think we just move quickly into agenda item number 1. Liz, you have the floor.
Thank you. So we are here for a new tavern liquor license for Danny Skinner. We've been working with her for about 2 months in this process. So we are doing a concurrent license with the state. I submitted that license to the state on March 2nd. And by March 2nd, I mean May. And so as far as I can tell, Danny has followed all of the different steps, the requirement of the forms, and it's just been really great to work with her. Likewise, she has paid her local fee for the local licensing authority. So in my eyes, I think that she's good to go to the next step and work with the Department of Revenue for that approval.
Okay. I don't have any questions. Thanks for working through that process. And can you remind me, is there a resolution, or what is the motion that we need to?
So you will be signing the application.
Okay,
Saying that the local liquor licensing authority does approve of this and is ready to move forward for the state approval.
So it'll just be a motion to approve the application.
approve the application. Okay, so I will look for a motion to approve the application for a new tavern liquor license for Yak Ale Limited at 2017.5 Poplar Street.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the liquor license for the Ale Yak at 2017.5. Poplar?
Yeah. Okay, I'll second. Any further questions or comments before we vote? No?
Nope.
Okay, none for me. So call for vote.
Call for a vote to approve the Yak, Ale Yak liquor license.
No, I think you just vote yes or no.
All right, yes.
Yes, I'll vote yes. So that is approved to, unanimous. Great, thank you for the work on that, and thank you.
Guys.
Yeah. That's it.
Ta-da!
So much work for just a quick. Great. Agenda item number 2, discussion and consideration of authorized vehicles only signs on the old Stagecoach Road. Adam, you have the floor.
Yeah, that's me, and Liz, if you have the map that I had sent with you in the packet, hopefully you guys got that. I know we have a couple of reps from Central Colorado Conservancy in the room here, and so, I can zoom out. I guess.
It doesn't want me.
So since 2020, really, the Conservancy has been purchasing, private lands, running from Two Big Gulch, which kind of, I believe is running right through here. This is kind of going through the Box Eagle property up there on the north, on that east side of the river. They've been purchasing those properties, as you are well aware. We are in a partnership with the Conservancy and taking on management of the public access for this site, and Deputy Director Jane Schaefer is working with counterparts to kind of get a management plan in place. So we are not really active in managing that space until that is complete. One issue that would help with this management would be for us, the old Stagecoach Road is through county, or through a court decree, listed as an unmaintained county road. If you recall, Commissioner Fiedler, that was an issue when we were trying to figure out if this could actually work as a protected area, that we would have legal access there. We do through that Stagecoach Road that comes through Cobe, County Road 55, yeah.
So this is the road, like when you come to, like you pull in on Cove to the fishing access and it like goes hard left, kind of like up the hill. And this is the road that goes hard right
Follows the
down
river
the
course.
valley.
Yeah, but you'll often see anglers in there parked and
Yep.
and fishing along there. And then there's of course a subdivision there, with those Jones properties being at the southern edge of that sub.
Yeah.
Those parcels in blue, those are properties that the Conservancy is intending to buy. I believe there might actually be offers on those. But what we're asking for, so pros, Public Works, CPD, and legal got together to discuss what to do to restrict motorized access to this protected area. I think the road, if you talk with Mike Irwin over at Public Works, he'll say somewhere right in here is just gonna be not passable, I'm sorry. So while it is a road, I don't know if you can actually drive all the way through that. From a protected area standpoint, and kind of the conserving and protecting the natural riparian and environmental qualities of this place and allowing for the type of recreation we would like to, we are asking for some signage both at the northern and southern most properties that would restrict motorized access to this site, restrict motorized access on that road, and leave it restricted for emergency vehicles and any authorized government use. We do have a couple of private land holdings in there, not looking to shut that road down, but to restrict motorized access to that site.
Have you been out there? Okay, I was out there last Saturday, and the thing that concerned me is that there's a sign down there that says the end of Chaffey County Road 367, and then you go beyond that by about a quarter mile, and then there's a big flat area where people park there, and then there's a road that branches off to the right, away from the river and up into the hills there. And then if you continue down along the river, there's a road that goes near the railroad tracks, and there's a high route, which is the old Stagecoach route, and then about a mile and a half or so north of, when you're going north, there is another road that branches off that goes up into the hills too. And so there's gonna be, I didn't go up onto those roads, but I think there's probably a couple of additional ways to get into that area if you come down those canyons. So there's that.
Yeah.
So, and then the other concern I would have about this is that just putting signs up there, I don't think it's gonna keep people from entering that area. I think it's not, the sheriff doesn't have the bandwidth to patrol that area with any kind of regularity. So, I mean, do you need more than just signs? And then what about these roads that are up in the hills there? Because some of this stuff is not on the maps that I have, you know?
Right, I think those roads you're talking about, when you can take kind of right, I think there's another property just south here. This was the old Blitzstein property, and you can take that BLM road up into other public lands there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we don't have any control over that, but the road that drops down on the river course, that is the old stagecoach road.
Mhm.
That is what we would want to block off there. Pros is responsible for monitoring this site once it becomes open to the public. I've reached out to Sheriff Speckman, reached out to our colleagues at, our counterparts at AHRA and CPW to see what level of regulatory support could be in there, because we did not set up the deputy director to be a park ranger, right? But we did put in that job description to do monitoring of this site. So the suggestion is without going full nuclear and looking at closures of a road, which I don't think we want to do, certainly not supported by pros. I felt this was a pretty good stopgap measure. Do some monitoring this first season of public access and see where we go from there. But I think, yeah, that road that kind of cuts off to the east goes to the right from when you're coming
Yeah,
up
there's
from
two of them.
Grants. Yeah, and there's a network of
Right, there's all
BLM
kinds of,
roads
yeah,
back
there's,
there.
yeah, right.
But as much as we can control any of the drop-ins to this sliver of river corridor, I think we would appreciate that, and our landowner partners at the Conservancy would also.
What, in addition to those questions, where the private property and holdings, where are their access roads? Cause I'm totally wrong, but I thought they accessed their property from Cove.
Right, and so that's why I'd say to restrict motorized access to emergency or authorized.
Oh, okay, and they'd be
government use.
authorized because that's their private access, okay,
Exactly,
okay.
yeah, we wouldn't wanna shut them out. I think there are 3 parcels, maybe 2, but.
Which makes putting a permanent gate or something a little trickier on, at least from that direction.
Yeah, it would be tricky, cause at the south end of it, you'd have to have not just a gate, but fencing. Because
Yeah,
you could easily
yeah.
drive around any kind of a gate, so that would be a big deal. And then I guess there's issues with that private property owner on the north end that thinks that people shouldn't be traversing through his land.
Sure, that's a
Yeah.
bigger discussion, yeah, with comments over in CPD of how to manage that. For a summer opening of this park, we had anticipated all access coming from the south until we
Okay.
kind of reach out to our northern landowners and see where we can go.
Yeah, I don't know, there might be, I don't know how many people visit it on a regular basis, but it might be good to, I don't know, publicize that there is a parking area beyond where those people in Granite have their cabins and stuff. If you go up a little further, there's a big, huge area, flat area, where a lot of cars can park, and I didn't know about that till I walked up there, but that would prevent people from parking like down in Granite
Yeah.
and pissing people off about being on their property or whatever.
Yeah, and I
There's
think,
probably room for 10 or 15 cars,
and I think
not that there's gonna be that many there, but.
identification of parking areas is something that we're working with the Conservancy in our bi-weekly sessions for the management plan, because there was always some discussion of the southernmost parcel that the Conservancy bought where parking could go there, but we haven't quite got to that point to talk about infrastructure. I think the first order of business is to talk about access on that road. But I think you're right, Commissioner, it was, you'd wanna get people a little bit closer instead of putting all that stress, especially since putting a new bridge in and they're just kind of getting
Yeah,
their privacy
Yeah.
torched.
so what I'm hearing, I mean, this definitely isn't like the end of it, but this is the starting point, not the end point of the management plan, and figuring out how the public uses it and stuff, so.
Yeah, but it would give us at least some comfort knowing that we could restrict motorized access.
Yeah.
I don't think we want that down on the river. I think CPD is in agreement, certainly CCC as well.
And to tell you the truth, I mean, even if people do drive in there, you can't get to the river. You have to, the road is up higher in a lot of places. And you can't drive down there, and then you have the railroad tracks that are between the stagecoach road and the river.
Yep.
And so it's not like people can just drive up to the shore of the river anyway, so, yeah.
I'm good with questions, so,
Motion to approve?
yeah,
Alright, so I make a motion to approve the pros proposal to put signage at the entrance point to the Arkansas River Preserve.
great, I'll second. Any further comments or questions?
Not for me.
Great, not for me, so, all in favor, vote yes.
I vote yes.
Yes for me, you have that authorization.
Alright,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks. Actually, one question then, do we have like a work session, or are you gonna come brief us at some point, the BOCC at some point on like the management plan
Absolutely.
discussions?
Yeah, yeah. There, every other Thursdays, there's pros and CCC and open lands getting together and talking through, but once we get to a point where it's ready for your eyes on it and some approvals, absolutely.
Okay. Great. Agenda item number 3, the Blue Elements MOU, between, like county government and Blue Elements, and that's you as well, Adam, right?
That is, yep, and so this is a proposal that, we already approved the resolution with GoCo funding at $222,000 over 3 years. Support, emerging nonprofit Blue Elements to help with, water education, outreach and stewardship, and that support, again, that was funded, you approved the resolution, we needed to get an MOU in place between the county and Blue Elements, so we understand the terms of engagement there. That has gone through legal review and Chris's team. And so just looking to get approval to submit the executed agreement to GoCo, and then for us to have BOCC approval of the MOU, which again has gone through legal.
If I remember, there's no county matching on this one, right?
There's some in-kind match,
Okay,
but there's,
It's
no cash match.
not quite, okay. Okay, so kind of just procedural on closing the loop on the MOU,
Yep, yeah, so you can get that rolling.
again.
I just have one question about this. How do you plan to house these 30 AmeriCorps volunteers?
That one is Blue Elements who takes care of that. I mean, they have an extra stipend on top of the AmeriCorps award that they got for housing assistance. But that is not a pro's job to find that housing for folks.
Yeah, I'm just asking because we can't find housing for the people that are here now. Okay. It's somebody else's problem.
Yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve the GoCo award agreement for the Blue Elements MOU.
Okay, I'll second. No questions for me?
None for me.
Okay. For approval, vote yes?
Yes.
Yes for me. That MOU is approved. Thanks.
Thanks.
And yeah, good question on housing.
Yeah, good luck.
Agenda item number 4. File 2405, amendment to the land development code. Is that you, Ann?
It is me. On April 8th, we held a joint public hearing, between the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners, in reference to a code amendment that has been proposed by staff. And I do have a recommendation to read into the record today from the Planning Commission. and then an accompanying resolution, to approve the code amendment if, the board is desirous of making a motion today to approve. So the statement of motion on file number, file 2405, at the April 8th joint hearing, the planning commission unanimously approved with 4 members in favor the following motion. The motion was made by Jason Marufo and seconded by David Clark Barrow. They move that they recommend approval of file number 2405, a code amendment to sections 3.5.8, 3.6.1F, 3.8.9, 3.11.3H, 311.4H, 313.3, 315.3E, 316.3H, 316.4H, 3.17.3, 3.220.7, 3.21.5, and lastly, section 5.2.27.1D to the Board of County Commissioners, and that a resolution be prepared to memorialize the decision making the following findings. A, the proposed amendment is consistent with the goals, objectives, policies, and other provisions of the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and this code. And B, the proposed amendment is necessary because of changing social values, new planning concepts, or other social or economic conditions. And C, the proposal is within the best interest of the health, safety, and general welfare of the general public. And just for the benefit of Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you.
This was a recommendation by staff to, why all of these different code sections is it's referencing the approval criteria of basically every land development code application.
Wow.
And what it is asking is that we change the language of the first finding to include the following. Let me make sure that the staff report reflects the correct code language. So let me take it from the resolution. Let me read the amendment and then I'll explain the basis of it. So. There's the. Okay. I was on the last page of the resolution. Find it. See the exhibit, but we'll get the exhibit and bring it back up. But basically, the new code language is this. So the first finding of almost any land use application is that the land use processes listed shall be in substantial conformance with the express purposes, intents, goals, and policies of the Lake County Comp Plan. So we always find in every land development code consistency with our comp plan. So we are adding on the following language through this code amendment. And any acceptable ancillary county acknowledged or adopted documents pertaining to natural resource protection, affordable housing, infrastructure management, or any area-specific community plans. So it's that thought of making sure that all of the good work that we're doing through studying housing needs assessment, wildfire mitigation planning, all of those are tools that we use to inform the decisions that are made in regards to land development. And so staff was applying those anyway, but it's more explicit. It's more explicit to the applicant, and it just keeps us mindful that we are applying the studies and outcomes of the work that we're doing to make sure that our decision-making is well-informed and that it is also holding accountability for new development, that it is consistent with those plans and work that we're doing. So it's just broadening the criteria basis that we look at on all land development applications. And so we think that it is a real practical and mindful code amendment to make sure that when we're looking at development, we're being mindful and considerate of all those aspects as well.
Thank you, Ann.
So it's just kind of a housekeeping, really, and it has been through legal, and has support from the county attorney as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
And I can just add from like, say, for example, the community wildfire protection plan, comes to us and we're like, wait, what are we adopting, acknowledging, approving, and this just kind of covers our bases, if you will. So that something doesn't slip through the cracks, it could be challenged.
Yeah.
And so, if it's okay, I'd be happy to read the resolution into the record.
That sounds great.
Is that okay?
I misnumbered it, it's actually 14.
Oh, okay.
Figure that out.
We will admin that and bring you a new copy before the meeting's over,
Thank you.
so that you have that. Okay, so this is going to be resolution 2414. And it is a resolution amending the Lake County Land Development Code to amend approval criteria. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of the County of Lake, State of Colorado Board is vested with administering the affairs of the Lake County, Colorado pursuant to state statutes, and whereas pursuant to section 3.8.2A of the Lake County Land Development Code, amendments to the various provisions of the code may be proposed by a private individual or organization, community development staff, the planning commission, or by the Board of County Commissioners, and whereas pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 29-20-1021, the Colorado General Assembly finds and declares that in order to provide for planned and orderly development within Colorado, a balancing of basic human needs of a changing population with legitimate environmental concerns, the policy of this state is to clarify and provide broad authority to local governments to plan for and regulate the use of land within their respective jurisdictions. And whereas pursuant to CRS 3028-113, the Board of County Commissioners, upon consideration by the Planning Commission, may regulate the zoning map and text after public hearing thereupon in those portions of the county that lie outside of cities and towns. And whereas pursuant to CRS 3028-111-1, the legislature has determined that local county governments may make a zoning plan for zoning all or any part of the unincorporated territory within such county. And whereas the Lake County Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners held a joint work session on the 11th day of March 2024, and whereas the Lake County Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners held a joint public hearing on Land Use File 2405 on the 8th day of April 2024, and whereas pursuant to section 3.8 of the Land Development Code, the Planning Commission shall make a recommendation based upon the approval criteria of section 3.8.9 of the Land Development Code, and whereas the Board of County Commissioners has considered the recommendations of the Community Development and Planning Department and the Planning Commission, and whereas professional studies and plans have been developed in conjunction with community engagement focused on areas of community-wide interest, including but not limited to housing, transportation, wildfire mitigation, hazard mitigation, and recognizing additional planning will result in such future integral community plans. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners recognizes the benefit in making these plans easily accessible to the public and particularly significant to allow for fully informed development review. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners finds that the foregoing amendments to the Lake County Land Development Code are consistent with the goals, objectives, policies, and other provisions of the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and the Land Development Code are necessary because of changing social values, new planning concepts, or other social or economic conditions, and will promote the public and environmental health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Lake County. And therefore, it may be resolved that under section 1, this resolution is consistent with the goals, objectives, policies, and other provisions of the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code. Under section 2, this resolution is necessary because of changing social values, new planning concepts, and other social and economic conditions. Section 3, this resolution is found to promote public health, safety, and general welfare. Under Section 4, the Lake County Land Development Code shall be amended in the first approval criteria listed in the following sections of the code. 3.5.8, 3.6.1F, 3.8.9, 3.11.3H, 311.4H, 313.3, 315.3E, 316.3H, 316.4H, 317.3, 3.20.7, 3.21.5, and lastly 5.2.27.1D. To read, the proposal shall be in substantial conformance with the express purposes, intents, goals, and policies of the Lake County Comprehensive Plan and any ancillary county acknowledged or adopted documents pertaining to natural resource protection, affordable housing, infrastructure management, or any area-specific community plans. Section 5, this resolution shall become effective upon its adoption, and the Land Development Code shall be amended accordingly and immediately. So we'll change the number on the resolution for you and bring it back for signature along with the exhibit. And the exhibit just simply shows where in the code that the changes are being made.
Okay.
We also have the official action record for your signature as well.
Okay, and remind me, do we just move and vote on the resolution 2024-14, right? We don't need to also act on the underlying file, just the resolution?
Yes.
All right, I make a motion to approve the land use file number 24-05 Land Development Code Amendment.
And then the resolution 2024-14.
And where is that one?
Here. So,
Okay. And a motion to approve resolution 2024-14
And you can say as read by staff.
as read by staff.
okay, I second. And I have no further questions or comments, thanks for the
I don't either.
presentation. So, all in favor, vote yes?
Yes.
Yes for me, resolution 2024-14 is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for working that through.
I'll go get copies and bring them running back up.
Great,
Thank you.
well, we'll be here for a while.
Okay.
So agenda item number 5, discussion and consideration of a PSA with Diversity Way Maker for DEI training for Lake County employees. Karina.
Yeah, the Human Resources Department recognizes a need for enhancing diversity, equity, and inclusion within our organization. We have initiated an RFP, and identified it's a crucial step in the process to creating a workplace that isn't just diverse, but also fair and authentically inclusive. We would like to move forward with Diversity Waymakers bid, as we believe their services align with our tailored needs. Diversity Waymaker offers leadership development, which is a vital step in the process. It paves the way for setting exemplary standards among our staff. They also offer employee practical tools and strategies for lasting cultural change, which is some of the criteria that we focused on looking for. The alignment of goals, leadership training, as well as having a meaningful impact within the organization. The item is budgeted for and a decision.
How, I don't know if you had any questions, I can, I appreciate, yeah.
I've got some concerns. One is the price tag, $96,000. It is quite a bit of money to expend on something like, I've been through many decades of this kind of training. And I question the efficacy of this stuff. It's, I mean, people, if you're having problems with diversity and equity or the way people are treating other people, I think it's incumbent upon supervisors to use our existing personnel policies to address those performance issues. That is something that we can, that we can legislate in the workplace. If somebody is being disrespectful or rude or expressing some kind of bias towards groups of people, then I think the most effective way to address those issues with specificity is through supervisor intervention and holding people accountable under our existing policies. I found that over the decades, this type of training is good, and it's nice, but it doesn't change the way people think.
Yeah.
And we can't control people's thoughts in the workplace, but we can control their behavior and the way they interact with people.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that we took into account. We obviously recognize that it is expensive, but we think it's worth moving forward with because it is gonna be training on increasing awareness. We can say that it's the responsibility of the supervisor to acknowledge when there's bias in measures or metrics that we have in place, but if they're not aware to that bias, then that's when it causes an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
I was gonna say, if I may offer too,
go ahead.
under the non-discrimination laws, one of the things that this type of training affords is a safe harbor, because it's proactive, and it's not just what used to be the common annual sexual harassment training to avoid that. This is a broader scope to help, address other potential types of bias. And it's been shown that when the organizations offer this type of training, that helps with their defense of potential claims that may be filed in the future.
I totally get that. But before I vote yes on approving this kind of expenditure, I'd like to see some feedback on this company from other people that have contracted with them.
Tim is familiar with them.
Yeah.
He recommended that we work with him as well.
Well, Tim's not here, and I'm not gonna rely on Tim. I'd like to hear and see some feedback from other organizations that they work with. And the reason I'm saying this is because we're facing a very serious and acute housing shortage in this community. And, for us to spend $96,000 on something like this, if members of the community question me about this, or, I'd like to have some more background information on just what has this training done for other organizations? So that's just my position on this.
Yeah, and then if what kind of research or recommendation are you expecting?
Well, I mean,
It's like,
who else said, what other organizational entities have they provided this training to? And what kind of feedback did they get from those organizational entities? What kind of an impact did it have on their operations and, yes.
So they won't be surprised, and I'm happy to work with you to send an email, just like, hey, can you recommend some of your clients that we can reach out to? I would also like to mention the pricing, that this is 3-phase, so it's, I think, 40 or 50,000
It's 16, 40, and 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's over some time. And I'd also like to mention that the Human Resources Department has the professional development budget, and they're really looking for trainings that support all of our staff rather than looking at a singular individual or a singular department.
Yeah.
And so I really do appreciate that y'all are working to develop training that serves all of us instead of kind of a singular focus.
Yeah, and I do wanna point out, we had 14 bidders and we did look out for that specific criteria. Obviously, we didn't just wanna target leadership, we want our entire organization.
Yeah, I've
to be
read
trained on
I've read it all through, so I'm very familiar with what they want, what you wanna do. But before committing to it, I just like to hear some feedback from other organizations that they work with before we make this kind of a financial commitment. Yeah.
How can so in addition to just sort of like getting some more background material on this company, would it be helpful to sort of have either like some one-on-one meetings or even like a work session with the full BOCC when Sarah's back in, I mean, we could revisit sort of like what was in the RFP and sort of how that fits in to, I mean, some of the stuff you were saying about like, I mean, how does this fit in with sort of our like, you know, I mean, HR handbook and sort of like internal practices, just like have another look at sort of what the whole package looks like. And by package, I don't mean this RFP, but like what is our comprehensive, you know, county approach?
Right, I mean, I'm not,
I sorry,
I think it's, I'm not discounting it, and I think it's important to have this kind of training, but I just like to get some feedback on other organizations that these folks have worked for, to see what their experience was before we make this kind of a commitment.
Yeah,
It's no different than looking at a review of a restaurant before you go there, right?
yeah.
So,
So I think I got a little rambly, and my question is like, do we wanna go back with staff, like, just to look at this proposal, or do we wanna go back like sort of one more step and look at sort of the RFP that went out and sort of how that fits into our whole kind of practice in this
sure, we
area?
can do that. Yeah.
So I can schedule a work session in June, that's our next available one that's not scheduled.
Okay. Karina, not to put you on the spot, would you like us to try to have this kind of conversation faster? Like, I'm not sure if there's like I don't know if there's like a state deadline or like something we're trying to hit. I mean, I know we wanna get it done, but.
Yeah, no, it's usually, I mean, there's an annual, if not totally legal requirement, but expectation that you will do vice-related training, and that's what helps establish the
Yeah.
affirmative defense. So I think as long as it's done this year, but I don't recall when the last time we did such training, so we might already be a little bit behind in meeting that criteria.
Well, maybe if you could look at that and see if we need to try to
Maybe
get it,
sooner.
just make space sooner. Or, you know, we could do it with some like one-on-one discussions rather than like
Sure.
scheduling it in work session if it needs to go a little faster. Okay.
Good.
Is that clear enough? Direction, great. Thank you. Agenda item number 6, discussion and consideration of a PSA with outside-in therapy for mental health counseling and training for Lake County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Stackman, you have the floor.
Hi, good morning. I'm seeking approval with this service agreement with Rebecca Boyd with outside in therapy. We have worked with her in the past with specific employees that were working through the issues that they had to work through, and gained a lot of respect for her holistic approach. And the individual approach of that person and what their needs were to get them back on duty. The focus of this service agreement really is to start working on the project of wellness within our staff. It's something that's been a goal of mine for quite a while. We've pursued grants in the past, been awarded, but didn't have anything established to really gain some traction with that plan. And it's a focus to really take care of our greatest asset, which is our people. The specific focus on the sheriff's office is the law enforcement, the nature of the work that we do, and shift work, the type of scenes that we respond to, and what Rebecca has offered to us are the debriefings, the follow-up actions after a traumatic incident, and one thing that's unique that we're trying to create here is the wellness assessment. And we have a pretty big gap when it comes to this type of stuff with, we have a crisis situation, or we usually call 911, or have Solvista come out for evaluation. And then we have this big gap going to scheduled counseling, and nothing really in between to make sure people are doing okay in between traumatic events or just dealing with the life of a stressful career. And so part of this is developing what that'll look like. And then it's also helping us develop our own peer support program, which is something that's pretty common in law enforcement or any sort of first responder career field where we can start taking care of our own staff. But we don't have anything to create that with. There are other services that provide that, This is something that Rebecca can offer. And she's also a local that we'll actually have that face-to-face contact with, which is extremely valuable for this type of service. There's others that we've looked at, but they're all out of town. And so we kind of prioritized making somebody available here in person. So those are the main service points that I wanted to talk about. And any questions from?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I totally support what you're trying to do and, you know, recognize the need. I've been there, okay? However, in speaking to Karina this morning, the HR is, we first of all, we have mental health counseling through our insurance, our health insurance. And HR is in the process of renegotiating that and finding a better vendor, for lack of a better term, for those services. And having looked at Outside In's website, they don't accept insurance, and she only offers afternoon and evening appointments. And then I don't know, I mean, to what extent has she worked with first responders in dealing, because I mean, the kind of stuff that first responders see, as you know, are very traumatic and can be very and nasty things. There's also there's quite a few vendors on the Post website that specialize in first responder counseling. There is an organization that provides for free counseling for first responders. That is the providers down in Dillon. I know this because I've been there. And so I'd like to see some other options here, and I think you should maybe work with HR to see what what they're doing as far as looking at different vendors and perhaps helping them find a vendor that does have the bandwidth for first responders. And then
As I can answer that question, she works with our Lake County Search and Rescue team.
who does?
Rebecca Hoyt.
Okay.
And she's also, we have direct experience with her where we had an employee that had to go through 6 to 12 counseling sessions to get her reevaluation done.
Mhm.
So we were able to work directly with her and the evaluator, so it was a nice connecting point to make sure that we had a good communication flow through all avenues, from the psychological test that she went through to the session specific to what needed to be addressed, and then was able to come back to duty. And so that was a direct experience that we had from a certified officer.
So then, maybe you should get with HR and see if her services can be contracted for not just you guys, but for the fire department too. And let's explore that. And then the other thing is peer support training. Is that something that you're looking into?
Yes. So it's, I know there's a lot of options out there to send somebody to go get peer support training. Again, the connecting point of having somebody local that we can constantly interact with and not have to do a Zoom call or a travel or just a phone call. From the product development standpoint, I think there's a huge value in having somebody who's already experienced with our county, experienced with our employees, and can have that continued effort and growth of having a peer support program.
So what would it take to get a peer support program off the ground?
I would start with one individual on staff, and that would be that development with Rebecca to see what it takes to having that initial training for those emergency responses after a traumatic incident. So I don't know the exact time frame of what it would take to develop one person to say that they're peer support, but I think to just start the program, it's as simple as identifying a person and start working with Rebecca on that development.
Yeah, or somebody else that specializes in peer support training.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Post website has a lot of resources for that. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry, the only thing I was gonna mention too is I don't think our HR interacts with the fire department to set up this type of programs, cause the city handles the fire department's HR.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that they couldn't collaborate with them if we're using a resource or something, but I don't think our HR can develop programs for the fire department.
Yeah, and then I just don't wanna duplicate something that HR is currently working on improving.
Yeah.
So I'd like to ask that you kind of, work with HR. So that we get something that is effective and good, not just for civilian staff, but also for your folks too. Cause I just don't wanna have a duplicate effort here. And then maybe, I don't know, you have to talk to them, but maybe HR could contract with her to provide those specific services for your team.
Yeah, that's the unique factor of us is we're the first responders of the county, we're the shift workers of the county. And so it is, whatever the county develops wouldn't be a duplicated effort because of the difference in our, what we do day to day.
I had one other question or comment. I didn't see, or sorry, Hal, I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't see a not to exceed number in the contract, maybe I missed that, but I feel like that's something we typically try to put in any contract that kind of has like an hourly rate on it, but I think as it comes back, I'd like to just make sure there's some cap or revisiting on that.
Yeah, I think from the, this is something that is commonly grant funded, and it would probably be more beneficial to have through the sheriff's office versus HR for those law enforcement specific mental health grant funding opportunities.
Do you have a grant identified?
We do, and unfortunately, I hate to report that it expired April 30th, so we missed this year's opportunity for that one with the Department of Justice. So there are other ones, and it is commonly grant funded, but it is specific to law enforcement mental health.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we have some questions and further discussion to come back on this one. Hal, is there are there any other points you wanted to raise on that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get those answers, and
Okay.
I'll still talk to HR.
Okay.
Make sure I'm on the right number. Moving on to agenda item number 7, discussion and consideration of resolution, which I think should be 24-15, right?
Yep.
You just said.
Well, it was 14,
Oh.
but we bumped the
Oh.
land code
Yes,
one
it'll
was
be
14, so this should be 15, I think.
15?
24-15.
15, it would be, because the land use one was originally styled as 13, but it was discovered it should have been 14, so that one's now 14.
So item 7,
Item 7,
technology access.
yeah. And I think we just need to bump all the resolution numbers up one.
Okay.
So a resolution to approve the Lake County Government Technology Accessibility Plan. Sarah.
Okay, hi. So this agenda item is to invite you to adopt resolution 2414, which would adopt our technology accessibility plan. The background of this is that the state passed a bill a couple years ago suggesting that by July 1st this year, all public entities would need to have all of their digital touch points, including their websites especially, but social media, any digital touch point for internal staff and for the public be accessible for website accessibility WCAG, content accessibility guidelines 2.1, which is a document that is available for review if you wish, but so this has sort of made a cascade of rules associated with this law that goes into effect July 1st. In order to be compliant with the law, some of the rules express that counties or other public entities need to have a plan in place for website accessibility, and that plan is evaluated quarterly, and that you can show improvements to your general website accessibility over time. So the plan would create a starting point for us that explains kind of where we're at, and then give us something to reference back to quarterly, which helps us be in compliance with the law that goes into effect July 1st. The other two things they suggest is that are required by July 1st are to have a page on our website that allows users with disabilities to request accommodations and provide a pathway for accommodations, and to put a statement on the website saying what our values and vision are for accessibility in the county. So this plan details some of those bullets as well, but the plan itself is the touchstone essentially that we set now, so that if anyone were to try to say we're not improving our accessibility over time in compliance with the law, that we have something to go back to and say, well, in May of 2024, this is where we're at, and now we're here. So hopefully it would be able to show progress. So is this the plan?
Ta-da!
Ta-da! So this is the drafted plan. It talks a little bit about the background there. The criteria for compliance, these are the 3 bullets I just stated. That we provide a pathway for reasonable accommodations, that we have a statement, and that we can provide evidence of making good faith progress on the plan. Here's our kind of vision statement for accessibility. I also wanna say this plan was provided, the template for it was provided by the state. So I just adopted where we're at to this plan. I said that we were inactive because at the time that I drafted this a month and a half ago, we were inventorying technology and begun to make investments, and that's essentially where we're still at. But I think some of the things in the plan will get us to the launch phase probably by July 1st, or the first time that we decide to evaluate this in this next quarter.
And you said that by the state requirements, this has to be revisited every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
I also wanna say there is a current resolution working its way through the House to say that this actually doesn't need to go into effect until a year from now, but they still want us to have the plan, the statement, and the pathway for accommodations even within it not being fully implemented, but by a year, so it's
That's
interesting.
what I was just looking to see what the current status was on that.
But even within the
That does ring a
language,
bell that there was gonna be
There's
a
an
bill.
extension to
Yes.
where they would start enforcing it, but they still want us to be.
Yeah,
yeah, working on progress, or that we're making a plan to become compliant.
and so if I understand this, I mean, our technology accessibility plan is a living document, right? So,
For sure.
Cause I did have sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead, but in the resolution, I wasn't sure I mean, are we gonna have to reapprove it every quarter? Like how do you approve something that's a living document, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I kind of view the resolution as this is our stance that we are going to continually work as this evolves and as technology evolves, so that we can support access for all of our users. And this is just the first stage in a play with many acts. And like you said, we're updating quarterly. I have that in the calendar to do all those pieces and parts.
Yeah,
But I also think this is just another piece of evidence that Lake County is doing all the things to ensure access for all of our users.
And be in compliance with the law that dictates that as well.
We're doing it just because it's the right thing, not because it's the law.
We're both and.
yeah.
And so Liz, like I said, I drafted this actually a month ago and we've already made some progress.
Yep.
So Liz and I developed a convention where in the teams, there's a accessibility area. And here we are, quarterly accessibility plan. So each time it's updated, can you go ahead and click on that? And then expand the name of the document.
Oh.
Maybe we should put so you can see the date. So the first one I drafted is 4.4. We just updated it a few days ago, 5.1. So I think to this we would add, well, this is the day that the BOCC approved the plan, and then other plans that are updated I don't think they need to be reapproved. We just will keep quarterly updating the plan so people could compare the different documents if they wanted to see
Yeah.
progress.
I just wonder, I think we can move forward on this to be moving forward as we're supposed to be, but maybe could just sort of ask the staff working on this or legal, like, do we need to like is this gonna be something we need to redo every year or to make sure, to show that the BOCC is conducting proper oversight and that it's not a plan that's sitting on a shelf,
Right,
you know?
right, and I think annual review is
Would-
appropriate, I don't know that you would need to
Every quarter
adopt it
seems
or something
excessive.
like that. Yeah, and just item of interest is Colorado Senate is hearing this bill today
Interesting.
for the extension,
Okay,
so we should know something soon.
Yeah, and again, the law originally said all of our digital touch points had to be accessible in all the ways that the WCAG 2.1 plan says, by July 1st. And then the rules loosened that to say, well, if you have a plan and you're making progress on it and you can show the progress, if you have a statement, if you have a path for accessibility accommodations posted on your website, then that's appropriate by July 1st. So it would be by next July 1st, but we still need the plan even according to the new resolution.
Right.
Can we go back to the most recent draft of the plan? Thank you. And then just keep scrolling to, I think it's like page 3 we were on. Okay, so why we are at this stage, again, that's just following their template. Our measures, okay, so this is where we actually are detailing what the steps we're taking. So we've actually already developed the working plan to lead policy development, and that links to a document that says who the people are. We've cultivated champions from each department and office to carry this work forward in their departments and offices. The next one is pertinent to the next bullet point, but to work to achieve on our main website, which has over 250 pages of content, to work to achieve the WCAG 2.1 standard on our main website. So we've decided that we would like to seek third-party consultants to evaluate any accessibility issues with our website so that we can have a document of what the issues are and then start to make a plan to remediate those and budget for them in subsequent years. Also.
I'm sorry, and that's what the next agenda item is, right? Like
would be the evaluation, yeah. And also whatever that's like, they could come back and say you have 10 errors on your website or you have 1,000. So we would need to spend time prioritizing those and budgeting for them and figuring out which touch points are the most accessed by the public, which ones should we prioritize this year versus 2025, 2026. But also it might point to areas where we need staff training. For example, if 90% of our errors are within documents or images or other things that our users are adding to the website, then maybe it's most efficient to actually invest in training for people who add content to the website so that we can maintain good standards on the website for document accessibility, for example. So we're hoping that will be what that accessibility consultation will provide us, is a list of issues. Maybe we won't have any issues and then we have a document that proves that we don't, which would be great too. The other bullets are to evaluate some of, I call them microsites, but they're other county-led websites. The airport, the sheriff, wraparound, emergency management, and Visit Leadville Twin Lakes are 5 of the most visible ones. But they exist on different platforms because until last summer we didn't have a communications director. Each department kind of did their own thing. So to try to move that content into an accessible space, which for most of those will be our actual website. So if we get our main website evaluated, then and then move the airport, sheriff, wraparound, and emergency management into that platform, we can be assured that things like color differentiation, fonts used, and other features are accessible to all of those new departments which currently have their own websites. And then the next bullet is about the statement that I discussed, but we've developed a statement, it's working its way through legal. We hope to be able to post it on our website within the next week, few days. And it will have a form and a phone number that people can call if they'd like to request accessibility accommodations. And then legal can help us evaluate those accommodations, because the rules for the law state that for especially smaller counties, we can say that some certain things are undue burden. So the legal can help us, if it's like, oh, this agenda wasn't saved properly, Liz can make that accommodation, but if it's something more elaborate that would cost $100,000 to remediate, then we would invite legal to help us consider that accommodation.
Yeah.
Then it goes, I won't continue in such detail, but it goes on to say things that we would plan to do in the second phase, which includes inventorying all our touch points, evaluating them, prioritizing which ones we need to budget for accommodating, and deciding which years to do that. And then it also invites our HR team, our procurement, finance team to adopt policies so that we provide correct training to people who are putting content on digital platforms, so that we make accessibility and being aware of it as part of people's job descriptions, and that when we invite contractors in, that we're not allowing them to provide us content that is not accessible. If we're gonna spend $100,000 on a new software program, for example, that software program needs to abide by the WCAG standards as well. And those things can be adopted in policies and then put into our templates for things like RFPs, and Liz has been working on that a bit already.
Correct, and so we're gonna have those, that's basically gonna go into our purchasing policy, which we have tentatively slated to introduce to y'all the last regular meeting of June, so that we're good to go by July.
So third phase is more about
Hey,
priority.
how are you?
And then,
I don't get a new office until the annex is ready, so maybe.
You bring shame.
Okay, and then the last bit, yeah, chipping away at actually assessing and making recommendations for mitigation of any issues we find within the inventory. So the inventory includes everything. It includes all the softwares, all the computer terminals that we use as staff members, and also that we allow for the public to use. So this is a list of inventory.
Yeah, so.
Some of these we can just like Google, one of these and type in accessibility, and they will have, anyone who operates in the state of Colorado is having to deal with this issue. So a lot of them have statements saying that they will be accessible by July 1st, and so our due diligence will just be to say we checked and they are gonna be accessible, that's what they said. But if they don't have something like that, then we need to investigate them and then decide whether or not to continue to use them as vendors, contractors, or if we need to find other options.
Holy cow, so how many? There's like
Almost 200.
So 260, but granted, this is just the first effort and this was a total data dump. Tell us everything you use. And we can remove Google Docs, we know that. But I think it was easier and a good strategy for folks just to put everything in there, and then we can kind of parse it of nope, we don't have to worry about this, or yep, this is on our menu to look at, so let's look at the frequency of use and who the audience is. Because especially if it's our community, we wanna make sure that it's accessible.
Yeah.
This has been a profound amount of work to start, and I would just like to applaud all the champions and staff that kind of dug in it, where we're like, hey, could you do this? So, and also Sarah, who's really led this, she's done a fantastic job building out a plan. I need that plan.
So that's, I think, the main overview of what the plan sort of takes us through. Again, we're just prioritizing the main website at this phase as our step. The first step was finding the champions and the team to work on this and developing a plan, getting the inventory started, but now we're actually starting to carve out space and time, hopefully, to evaluate our biggest communication tool, which is our website.
Yeah.
And that leads us to our next thing, but first, the question on the table is, would we like to adopt a resolution saying that we've developed a plan?
So, look for a motion approving resolution 24-15.
Okay, I'd like to put a motion to approve resolution 24-14, a resolution to
15, sorry.
14 or
Sorry.
15?
I think it's
It's 15.
It's 15.
Is it 15?
It is 15.
Alright.
I'm positive.
Motion to approve resolution 24-15, a resolution to approve the Lake County Government Technology Accessibility Plan.
I will second.
I vote yes.
I'll vote yes. So that resolution 24-15 is approved. And I will just make a comment, in addition, I appreciate all the work, your comment about all the work, also say that some of the legislative coalitions were a part of, worked hard on that bill that is moving to give some more flexibility, on the constant refrain of unfunded state mandates.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that that is moving forward, so.
And all those who contributed to the rules as well, which
Yeah.
went into further detail to help, especially counties our size with our budgets
Yeah.
and special needs have a little bit more grace in how quickly we
Yeah.
have to implement these changes.
Okay,
Okay,
so now moving on to agenda item 8, the PSA with, is it DEC Systems?
DQ.
DQ.
It's a new
Course.
pronunciation for 3 others.
So a continuation of this topic, it was our goal to take this law seriously and really take it to heart and develop a vision where we do want our touch points to be accessible. We work with Civic Plus as our website content provider, and they said that their website, when they delivered it to us in November, was up to WCAG 2.0 standards. And there are about 40 extra rules with 2.1 standards. So we asked them if they were able to guarantee essentially that they were in compliance with 2.1 standards by July 1st. And their statement back to us was that because of a feature called Audio Eye, which is like, if you look at the website, the little guy in the corner, if you click on that, it allows you to change colors and fonts and size. For example, let's click on color shift. So people with visual disabilities like color blindness might need some of these features. Text size is another popular one. They said, with this, you should be pretty good to go, but it wasn't like a steadfast guarantee. And also, they're the vendor providing the service that we pay for every year. So we asked our IT team to evaluate kind of whether they thought that was sufficient and or interview other vendors. And we interviewed they interviewed, I think, 2 other vendors besides, sorry, I should back up and say Civic Plus has a sister relationship with a company that provides accessibility. So this was the group within Civic Plus, they kind of adopted this company recently, said that, Audio Eye is the magic tool. Another company, this company actually that we talked to, said that international standards and federal standards are quickly changing to say Audio Eye isn't sufficient for a lot of people with visual disabilities, and sent us many articles about that. So we engaged in a more rigorous conversation with them about what they would offer as a solution as a third-party vendor evaluating our website. So they provided us this scope of work as an example of what they would do, and as a team, we thought this is what we recommend as the best path forward for the county, given again that our website has over 250 pages of content and is a living area. They also have a back-end system, which if we contract with them, we could have access to some digital tutorials and trainings. We could contract them further if we wished in the future for video or in-person, more tailored trainings for our staff if we wanted. But this scope of work just would evaluate 15 pages of content on our website, which we've looked through and kind of cultivated, curated with them, that are different types of pages that have forms, pages that have images, pages that have more complicated displays of information like images and other things, documents. And can you go to the scope of work? It's the very end. There it is. Okay, go back up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they will test them up to the WCAG 2.2 standard, which this is interesting for us all, but the law for Colorado says we need to be up to 2.1 standards. But of course, in a year, they'll probably pass another bill that will say that we need to be up to 2.2 because the WCAG is continually evolving and the state laws and the federal laws are just like a little bit behind. So this would actually ensure that we are aware of issues that would be up to 2.2, the next level of standard testing They will provide us a report, they have a database where they'll keep the information for us as long as we need it, but it will have like code specific recommendations where we could pull out and say to our IT team or consultants that we need to hire, if that's the case, hey, this is the exact code that needs to be rewritten. We can take that back to Civic Plus and say, hey, you need to adopt this specific code. It will be very technically specific recommendations for improvements. And then they also provide a digital tool that we could evaluate any pages we wanted to, and it will catch, they said about 75% of, it's like a manual, they are providing manual testing, which will provide 100% compliance with WCAG 2.2. They also provide us a tool where we can test other pages, and it will at least catch at least 75% of errors on other pages. Can you scroll down a little bit, please? They also provide 20 hours of technical services with their like expert team of folks who, if we have specific questions or especially from our IT team about things that come up. It is a price tag of almost $20,000. This is fits within the budget that we proposed for communications and website updates this year, which sits in the county manager's budget, because communications is housed in county manager right now. So this is a budgeted expense. And I just wanna say that it's just pretty hefty price tag, but if we don't come into compliance with things, eventually users with disabilities who find errors can try to have a fee of up to $3,500 per issue that they find. So that would be like 6 people complaining and us having to pay a fine is essentially hopefully what we're trying to avoid here.
And there will be firms that make a living out of doing that on websites for this, cause they always grow out of these new type of requirements, so.
Yeah.
It's worth the investment.
The
Well, and it
assessment
also,
itself,
I feel like we get shortchanged this, but then like just continually be a year behind
yeah.
or playing catch up.
Yeah, even the company that I talked about who's part of Civic Plus now, where they were like, pretty much you're up to compliance if you just have audio eye. They said they would do like an assessment of some of our stuff and their price tag was $5,000, for example, but again, they're like within the company that we're trying to assess. So this feels safer to me to have a third party truly evaluate whether Civic Plus is up to snuff. And the details that they're gonna provide us felt a lot more comprehensive to me. Do you have any comments, Liz? You were very involved in this process as well.
I think this is the right choice, like nothing is ever a perfect solution, but I feel really comfortable engaging with this work. I like the process that they're doing. Out of our 200 and some sites, they're sampling 15 sites that Sarah identified as relatively unique. And I think that's a really, really good approach. I also like what they've written about how they will report their findings. So we can use that as a learning tool as well. So it's not like we become dependent on them. We learn from them and then we inform our staff so that we can all just start creating in this way and be knowledgeable. And plus Sarah and I made a new friend for life with Roger. I'd be happy to give you his email.
He's very funny.
Yeah. One thing I don't think it affects this decision, but just going forward, like we talked about, I mean, this is gonna keep coming back probably every year in the legislature. I think it would be good to just sort of keep a rough tally of like the money we've spent and like an assessment of staff hours. Cause I think that'd be like a good quick lobby point. And again, I'm not trying to like undo this at the state level, but I think just making sure we can communicate to like our coalitions in the legislature some reasonable understanding for them of what they are requiring of small counties.
Yeah, for
and what it
sure.
actually costs in terms of, again, money and, you know, just a guess at staff time, you know, cause I don't know, like it's a constant refrain that we have of like unfunded mandates or underfunded mandates. And the state not understanding how this lands differently in different counties, and I'm sure like Weld and Adams County are spending like, who knows how much money, but you know, per constituent, it's probably more for us.
That's I think really important to
Yeah.
have that information, so we have some empirical evidence. You know, our county does look very different than other counties, and so we are adding new language into some of our position descriptions. So for example, we have a posting for IT specialist right now, and we wanna make sure that they know what they're walking into so we can develop the in-house expertise and knowledge so that we can train each other and not that it becomes a singular person's job. Because when I go to Hawaii, I'm not going to Hawaii, but thank you for thinking that.
I am.
What?
Yay.
Take me with you. You know, we need to know that that knowledge, experience, skills, and abilities is not leaving with that human. So I think that the plans that we have made and this contractor that we're gonna engage with are all really thoughtful choices that serve a long-term plan rather than just right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I know you have a lot on your agenda, but I also wanna say, maybe Chris, you're aware of this, but when we first became aware of this more as a county, where our understanding is a lot of counties are hiring outside consultants to even do the work that Liz and I have been doing on this.
Exactly.
So I think we're, you know, kind of making do with our current resources so that we weren't spending $80,000 having somebody come up with a plan and write a statement. We're just doing our due diligence to try to look at other counties and what did they put in their RFP, and what are their statements say, and use the templates that the state sent and stuff. So I think we have been pretty efficient up to this point, but yes, we have spent a lot of staff time on it for sure.
And then she's absolutely correct, cause everybody was panicking with the other counties and how they were gonna do that, and you think of, you multiply it too, even the bigger counties with a lot of resources don't have the depth of staff resources to do all of the work that would require for them to do
Yeah.
it, so it's pretty common that they've been hiring consultants to do this.
Okay, that's great, thank
That's
you
the
for that.
full, that's
Yeah.
the depth of the presentation I had, but I don't know if you have any questions.
We're ready for a motion.
Alright, like,
approve
make a
the
motion
PSA.
to approve this DQ,
DQ.
Systems Incorporated PSA.
I'll second. No questions for me, no further comments, so call for a vote, yes?
Yes.
Approved? Yes, the PSA with DQ is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for the work in the background, it's good. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, sorry, it took a minute.
No, it's good enough. Okay, agenda item number 9, discussion and consideration of a PSA with Carry On Consulting LLC for the implementation of policies and procedures for Spanish language services.
Sweet, good afternoon.
Thank you for your patience in the back there.
Yeah, background for you, Hal, back in February, we submitted an RFP for some consultants for Spanish language policies implementation procedures here in Lake County. We had a total of 5 formal bids. We decided to go with Maria Carrion. We've worked with her in the past, with DHS and worked with her in the past. So yeah, I just want purchase approval to move forward with PSA. On this packet, our proposal is also attached, some scope of works that we identified, will be create proposed policies and procedures to make interpretation services widely available at public meetings, assist in raising awareness about language justice, assist in instituting cultural change that supports language justice, provide language justice training for all trusted organizations, assist in adapting the county's current language access policies, and co-create Spanish language content for community justice related communications, including website content. The total for her was $86,000, which is pretty much what they all came out around. Yeah.
But this is grant funded?
100% grant funded, yeah.
Okay.
And that's that community justice grant.
Correct.
Yeah.
Department of Justice.
Great. Yeah, I don't have any further questions, I think we need to
No,
just kind of.
I've read through the entire proposal and I think it's good and it's timely, so, yeah.
Okay, I'll look for a motion to approve the
I'd
PSA.
like to make a motion to approve the contract with Carrion Consulting for Spanish language accessibility.
Okay, I'll second and call for a vote.
Call for a vote, and I vote yes.
I'll vote yes, so the PSA with Carry On Consulting is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks. Could we take a 2+ minute break? Sorry, Julia, but you have a lot of items coming up.
Go take care of yourself.
Hey, Angel, did you get my message yesterday?
I did, yes, he hasn't reached out to me though.
Okay, and reach out to him, if you will. Yeah, so I think it's important for our Spanish speaking community to be aware of these, the wildfire stuff and these two, town halls coming up. I'd like to get the word out, amongst that segment of the population.
Oh.
So,
I'll find his email somewhere. Do you have his email?
I can get it for you.
Okay, yeah, if you can just email it to me, I'll
I think I can, let me
bond
try.
and CC you on it.
She said she wasn't gonna be here for it, but she was gonna send the agenda. Okay. Sarah, not Commissioner Mensch,
For what topic?
the rodeo. No, she said she put us on the.
It is not on the agenda, it will be on the next agenda. Because we needed time for legal postings and when those items came to me, there wasn't time now. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay, because we were confused in the issue because our permit can't get approved.
So I'll tell you what,
until
what I'm gonna do,
Commissioners approve the exception of having liquor down there.
Okay,
And so it's like the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart. We didn't know what way to go to get everything approved because everything relies on someone else.
yeah, so
I'm very confused.
Apologies on that, I didn't know. When I read through the statutes and I looked at liquor licensing when I was building this agenda, I was like, oh, we can't do it yet. But that's my homework to figure that all tomorrow. Let me get your contact information.
Yeah.
Jed, can you give me a sticky note in the middle drawer? If you-
She just said she put it on, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Because we need public notice in the newspaper and then we need public notice on the
Right,
physical
on the
site.
site, and we knew that part, but we
Right.
can't apply for the liquor license till you approve the exception of allowing liquor on the county property.
Oh,
That's why we were here.
got it. Yeah, I apologize.
That's
Nobody communicated that to me.
So that means we won't meet the deadline for the June 15th rodeo.
So I don't know what's gonna happen next. I can make no promises, but I can work with commissioners to see if we can schedule a special meeting to get
Okay.
an approval of alcohol on county grounds. And then from there, we can do liquor licensing, if that's what I'm understanding.
Yes, because we
Okay.
can't get the liquor license approved until we know the commissioners are allowing the exception
so
to have beer on the county property.
Okay.
I just texted Dan Daly, but let me give you
Everything
Daly's.
was county
Let
special
me give
events
you
stuff, and I
Daly's,
knew that, and that was gonna be on next, but I didn't know about.
Yes, so we have the liquor license
So
in
Dan
process
Daly's phone number is,
this in the
seven
special
two
event
zero
permit. Both permits are in house.
937.
You were waiting to
7546.
get this approved to say, yes, we can
And
approve.
I talked to both of these guys
It's the
at
cart
this,
before the horse.
the
Horse
fire
before the cart.
mitigation
Kinda
meeting
don't-
yesterday.
Yeah,
And,
rural community. That sounds frustrating.
the question was,
Go for you?
They do.
is how do we being the group,
Yeah, that's
connect
where we're
with
at and trying to figure out
the Latino community?
who we had to talk to
And
first
so,
to get it done,
one of the
and
things that
everybody was
I've been
saying, no, you
hearing
gotta
from
talk to them
the
first.
members of
And then
our
they're saying,
Latino
no, you gotta
community
talk to them first, I'm like,
is,
no, you both have to
we don't
talk.
hear about these
So that we
things,
can
we're not
move
made
forward.
aware of these things.
Cause nobody
And so,
was willing to say yes.
In
until
your
the other
position, I think you'd
person
be in
said
a,
yes.
good position
Who
to
have you
bridge,
talked to so far? I'm just curious.
bridge that gap and just get the information
Cause I
out.
handed
So,
him
so people,
in
if
the,
they want to attend, they
permits.
can.
Cool.
and then
And just be
he
aware of
was
these things,
waiting to
because, I
hear
mean,
about
the
this
whole fire
resolution, which is what
issue
Felicia
affects
told
everybody
us
here,
we
not
can
just
do through the rec department.
certain people,
Right.
right?
And then
And I think that
events
everybody
permit
needs
is waiting
to
on the liquor
be
permit
aware
to
of what's
approve the
going
events
on.
permit, as is
Okay.
the
and
insurance.
these plans and
As
things.
is the insurance,
So,
which is what the special events permit is waiting.
Okay.
You know, I'd appreciate if you
Well,
could
I'm
help out
so
with
glad
that,
you
get the
decided
word
to
out
take a
for us.
break and we
Yeah.
got a mini
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, I will give him a call.
And it is a
Hear
public
from
safety issue,
me
Right.
tomorrow.
Okay.
so,
And I'll see if I
yeah.
can clear this up and define some lines
So,
and hopefully get.
thanks.
Yeah.
No,
Have a
I'm
good
sorry,
day.
I
Okay, thank you.
Shoot you an email.
Okay,
I reached out to Commissioner Mudge and was like, this is what I need to happen, what do I need to do? And she's like, oh, I'll put you on the agenda, it's fine. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Email Liz. I was gonna say, yeah, if you
Email Liz.
anything you need, email Liz and she'll work on it for you.
Whatever you do, don't rely on the commission.
Yeah, really.
Thank you
Here's
so
that
much.
part.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
you're
that's-
Hillary, that's
yeah.
phone number, that's your email, I can read it, cool, hopefully, yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Sorry.
No, I'm just like, yeah, you did great, cause,
You've been sitting here for
yeah, I never couldn't see the whole agenda to realize we didn't want it. Yeah, but no, now you understand why we're going, asking for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and more seriously, this kind of issues come up before about like when we do or don't allow alcohol on county premises or
Right.
property.
Right.
So we just need to come up and like, I think at times in the past it has been allowed, but we realize it's like, we just don't wanna be doing things really inconsistently
Right.
or like,
Yeah, no, we just,
yeah, so
first time, so
we
we're kinda
will-
like,
we need to figure out like what our actual
who talks to who
policy
first?
is.
Right, yes, okay, well, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we good
I'm
to
ready.
keep going? And again, more seriously, sorry if any of us dropped the ball on flagging that.
I knew about doing a special permit for liquor licensing, but we didn't have time to do the postings on this meeting, so I was gonna do it on the next meeting. I was not aware that they were seeking permission to do alcohol on a county property.
Yeah,
So we can talk about
I
it
think, yeah,
and maybe hold a special if y'all are okay with that too.
yeah. I think we should, I think it does keep coming up and it always causes like a kerfuffle,
I
so we just need to,
am building a liquor licensing thing on the businesses page,
okay,
so that might be a good place to have some language with how we're gonna proceed.
yeah. And then maybe, I mean, again, I feel like we've sort of half had this discussion, but like, Chris, if you wanna think about like advice to us, is like, is it enough if they just have insurance? Or do we need
Hello?
to have like some stronger criteria?
Hello?
Or some facilities but not others, like maybe not in the pool if we ever have
Yeah, who is
one,
this?
but like,
Yeah.
maybe not a community, you know what I mean, like just if you wanna, I don't know, especially on the legal side, like what do you
From where?
need to be covered?
If insurance is
I
important.
mean, insurance for sure, but you know, then we can think of what the other criteria are, cause again, I could see it being like maybe we approve it for some certain facilities, like I'm more comfortable if it's like an outdoor pavilion or like
So
a,
maybe we need to put an agenda item on a work session that's got, just to talk through what it is your concerns are for that.
yeah.
So glad we're talking about work sessions from this ends. And Julia!
Okay. Al, are we good to start up or you?
Oh, yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
This is kind of important.
Yeah, if it needs to go faster, I mean, we could also try to do some quick one-on-ones, you know, just to get the view of the three of us.
Cool.
Sorry, guys, but I got a family crisis, so.
Julia's never gonna use my texting services again. Okay,
No.
you're up.
It's okay though, you assumed 12:40 and we're gonna be pretty much.
I'm so good at
You're
this.
good, yeah.
I told Anne 11:30 and it was 11:24 and I was so disappointed. I was like 6 minutes off.
You're good though.
I grew up in a horse racetrack town, so you gotta be good at times.
Well, maybe we'll take another second, just like, I mean, if we have to stop for the 2 o'clock Board of Health, if we don't get to everything here, can we go into, I always forget what the proper way to do this is, can we go into like recess on this meeting and come back to it? And the Board of Health, I think will be super quick.
Yeah, you're, no.
No.
I was like,
No.
we'll be done, I will talk very
You
fast.
you can definitely take, you can adjourn for a specific, because the posting doesn't give a specific end time.
Okay,
So yeah, you can take a recess, like you said, and do the Board of Health and then come back and
Yeah.
and re-adjourn the meeting.
okay. I don't know how long the executive session will take, but not sure we're gonna get through all this before two.
Before 2:00.
Right, agenda item,
Oh, okay.
so I'm making weird faces.
You look like you are.
And again, I think the Board of Health will be very quick, so.
Okay,
You're good?
let's go.
Okay, great, agenda item
Sorry,
number
guys.
10, no, it's, that is okay. Discussion and consideration of an amendment to the PSA with Arc Valley Consulting LLC for continued service as the Upper Arkansas Emergency Preparedness Response Coordinator. Julie.
Yep, so Mike McHarg has been our independent contractor helping us with emergency preparedness response for a number of years now. He is slowly making his way towards retirement, but is renewing his contract with us at a lesser capacity than previously. But we'll still be helping us with some of our emergency preparedness response deliverables. So we created this contract that will help with that and some of the training that he does. It's been reviewed by the county attorney team, and we have a signed contract here with Mike's signature that has been notarized. Yep, and so basically just looking for that, a signature and approval to have him be our EPR contractor again.
And so this is just amending the existing PSA.
Yeah. Yeah, because his previous contract ends at the end of June, so we're just getting a little bit ahead here. His new one will start July 1st and end June 30th, 2025.
He's never gonna retire.
He's never gonna retire, I know.
His retirement pace is about the same as mine.
I feel like this contract is his retirement pace.
Yeah, right.
How is retirement going for you?
I'm still here, right?
So for the contract I just have, do you sign it?
I'll take care of it.
Oh, you take care of it,
Yeah.
so I give it to you, the signed one, okay, great.
I don't have any questions or comments on that, so I don't know if you have.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract renewal for Mike McHarg, the Emergency Preparedness Response Planner.
I'll second, and all in favor vote yes?
Yes.
Yes, PSA with Mike McHarg or with Arc Valley Consulting is approved. 11 is the MOU between Lake County Public Health and St. Vincent General Hospital District for TB screening.
Great. So, LPHA, so Lake County Public Health works closely with CDPHE and local partners when someone in Lake County is possibly positive for tuberculosis. When patients are uninsured or underinsured, meeting certain risk factors, they will come to us and we will help pay for their testing. This is often chest x-rays, maybe sputum, and then we're reimbursed through the state TB program. However, we are reimbursed at a rate of a Medicaid fee schedule, and I think there was some discrepancy in what we were being charged by St. Vincent Health, which is more akin to like someone who would have private insurance. And we've been working with the legal team to kind of get all of this figured out, but essentially, we are going to, this MOU defines that SVH will only bill LPH or Lake County Public Health on the Medicaid fee schedule, so that we're reimbursed through the state, the charge and the reimbursement are in line, which has not been always been the case. It also just defined the partner roles and responsibilities when a TB client's been identified that we're like in partnership working with.
And I think this is one we asked for approval pending final legal review, because I think we're still
Yep.
waiting to hear back from St. Vincent Health to get it finalized, but I don't anticipate any substantive
Yeah,
issues with it.
Okay.
they've been cooperative and happy to work with us on this.
Okay,
which is
great.
nice.
Is it a huge discrepancy? Like, or I'm just curious, sorry, I don't know if it's in the memo.
Wait a
like-
minute, St. Vincent's Health from the TV? That's good to go.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
I
and that
thought
was signed by
there
Andy.
Okay, he did
was-
sign.
He did, I
Is it
think,
for
because I
that?
hadn't seen it, okay.
Yeah, it's the next two.
I don't know the exact number, but it was not great.
Okay,
Kelsey probably could. That, a lot of this got figured out when I was not around.
I was just curious if it was like $1,000 a year that we're.
Well, I think it
gap,
depends
or like-
how many
Yeah,
TB patients we
sure,
have, which
yeah.
is really inconsistent. Like we have 2 right now, and then for a while we had none, and then so it really ebbs and
Okay.
flows. So it just depends on the number of patients, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. So this is not pending final legal review.
No, this one, I heard that we got the signed
Okay.
version back and we'd sent it to him, but I didn't,
Okay.
I didn't know, so it's good to go.
Okay,
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the MOU with St. Vincent Hospital for tuberculosis processes and billing.
I'll second. And all in favor, vote yes?
Well, yes.
Yes, the MOU between Lake County Public Health and St. Vincent General Hospital District is approved. Agenda item number 12, discussion and consideration of an MOU between Lake County Public Health and Rocky Mountain Family Practice for use of the freezer and fridge for emergency use.
Great. So this MOU is essentially stating that in the event of an emergency, we have a power outage, we have some sort of issues with our fridge freezer, so we have a fridge freezer combo, it's where we store all of our vaccines, including our federally funded VFC, Vaccine for Children program, as well as our 317, which is federally funded for adults, and our private vaccines, and it's really important that they're kept at a certain temperature and we monitor them regularly. In the event that this goes out, this is an MOU with Lisa across the street at Rocky Mountain Family Practice to be able to utilize her fridge freezer temporarily while we're out of power or service. And it kind of outlines that we'll continue to monitor them ourselves and make sure that the vaccines are within range and temperature. This is at no cost to us, it's just an MOU that she's happy to provide that service in the event of emergency. She sends a lot of her patients to us to get those vaccines, so we're already like collaborating as partners on these vaccines, so that's essentially what this is. And this is being reviewed by the legal team right now, and they're just working on the.
This is one that I know we need approval pending final legal review, because I don't think, we needed some clarification for the final language on it, and so I don't anticipate any issues. Dr. Lisa is always so accommodating with this stuff, so I don't anticipate any issues with getting her signed off on it once we have the final draft too.
Okay. I had a question just for that building, new building that, new to us, building that public health is in. Does that building, does what you or Summit Community Care Clinic do, should we be thinking about backup power at that building? Or is that like overkill?
No, it's not overkill. I think that historically, there's been like a generator, like at our old building, we had a generator that we could use from St. Vincent Health.
Oh, okay.
And so some sort of backup is.
I would talk to Mike Irwin. I know he has a portable generator, but it looks like we may need more than one.
Public Works has 3 generators, one's the,
Trailerable?
yes, one's the big like gas one that we've had that one time, and then 2 other smaller ones. I learned this all from Mabel at the FEMA training,
Okay, great,
in great detail.
yeah.
But
Because there's a couple of governmental entities that if in the event of a big power outage, Tracy's gonna need power, you're gonna need power.
Right.
So there's.
Your COOP plan, what does your COOP plan say?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, this is all,
Go ahead, continuity operations plan.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
which, and I need to, cause when I was the immunization coordinator, we had all of this figured out when we were in the old building, and now that we're in the new building, I haven't figured, I'm guessing some of this exists and maybe we need to review it all. I think this still stands, but it would be nice, especially if the power is out at our building, the power would likely also potentially be out at her building.
Right.
Yeah.
This is gonna be more like, I think, if we have a disruption to our fridge freezer set.
Panel or,
But so I think our exact backup plan is like when the power's out, what is the number we call to get a generator? It needs to be finalized, and I will check in on that.
And then the other thing, sorry,
Well-
is I think there might need to be some prioritization. If we only have 3
Who gets the
generators,
generator?
then
Yeah.
who gets it, what's the most important function to get those generators to in the event that we have some kind of a big, countywide power outage.
Totally.
The fridge y'all are using, is it the one she left? It's the one that was in place, so y'all brought that with you?
We brought our own.
That's what I wanted to,
Okay.
check. So it's not, that was the other thing, because any furniture, fixtures, equipment that were left by Dr. Lisa, we're still responsible for it anyway, so if it dies, we still have to replace it.
And then I know, I was just kind of thinking this through, I don't know to what extent, Mike Irwin's shop would have people like on call. Because what if the power outage takes place in the middle of the night? And we have these critical functions that need generators, do they have the bandwidth to have an on-call person or persons to deploy these things? You
They
know,
do have an on-call schedule. I don't know the depth of it, but I have a lot of faith in Mabel and Michael that they have figured it out.
okay, all right.
Just call Mabel.
But I would
Yeah.
say in this instance, I don't know how long it takes for vaccines to be unusable once they are no longer refrigerated. It may be worth the investment in a small generator that'll run the refrigerator, if nothing else.
Yeah. Great. Michelle, and I should come back, chat with Kelsey. I feel like this probably was a conversation when they were deciding to move of like, how are we gonna be pivoting because we were so reliant on the hospital before, like that was our backup plan. They had a generator, they had someone on call 24/7, like it was totally written out, made a ton of sense, and I have a feeling someone has already discussed this and I'm just not
Okay.
informed. But I will get back and then if I see that and I can let you guys know. And then also if there's holes, then we can
Yeah.
start working on that.
Great. So we're looking to move this one pending final legal review.
Please.
Okay.
You're up.
Oh, so, all right, so I'm not approving this one.
We're making the motion to approve the MOU, but then say pending final legal
Okay, so I'm
review.
making a motion to approve the agreement between Rocky Mountain Family Practice and the Lake County Public Health Agency, memorandum of understanding for emergency storage for immunizations at 733 US Highway 24, Unit 200, pending final legal review.
Yeah, I'll second that, and then just quick comment, and that just gives staff, it doesn't have to come back to us after Chris has looked at the final version
Okay.
over. And Chris has the discretion, if something big does
If
come up,
something does,
You'll bring it to
I'll
our
bring it
he'll bring it
back.
back, yeah, but if it's,
This is
Yeah.
usually when we're like at the last little nit to pick, and no, it's not gonna be a big issue, but I ask for that.
Okay.
Sorry? Yeah, so look for a vote, yes?
Yes.
Or yes, so the motion is approved, MOU between Lake County Public Health and Rocky Mountain Family Practice, 2-0. Agenda item number 13, discussion and consideration of an MOU between Lake County Public Health and the Summit Community Care Clinic for Title X services and patient referrals.
Okay, finally. This MOU is required by CDPHE, so it's required by the state for both of our clinics to coexist in the same building until there's a full transfer made. As you all know, we are in the process of transferring our Title X program to Summit Community Care Clinic. They're in there 2 days a week and they're providing that service, and then we provide it the other 3 days when really needed, when someone needs like Plan B or something like that. But anyone who needs more comprehensive care, we're already trying to get them to make an appointment with Summit Community Care Clinic and establish care with them. But truly, this is just temporarily while we're both in that space. There needs to be an MOU that we're working collaboratively, and the idea and hope is by September, they will be in there 5 days a week and have fully taken over our Title X programming pending their ability to hire another provider.
Right.
Yep, but it's been working very well so far.
And I didn't see the actual MOU in here, is this?
There's still, just making sure all the channels are clarified.
So this would be another one that we would ask for approval pending final review.
Okay.
Next week too.
Should I be saying that?
No, that comes
Okay,
from
just
legal.
making sure. I'm like, should I be doing this?
Don't
Yeah.
take that from her.
No,
Perfect.
thank you for offering that.
Okay, so look for a
Like a
motion
motion
pending
to-
final legal review.
Okay. Like a motion pending final legal review to approve the MOU with Summit Community Care Clinic for Title X services.
Okay, I'll second, and no further questions from me.
No further question from me?
I'll look for a vote.
Yes.
Yes from me, so that MOU is approved pending final legal review. Excellent.
Thank you all for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you shortly at the Board of Health meeting.
Yeah. Okay, is Janine, oh, yes. Agenda item 14, discussion and consideration of an agreement with Otero County to transfer 50,000 in TANF dollars, pending approval by the Works Allocation Committee. Janine, over to you.
Muted.
discussing our budget strategy, the TANF dollars we receive from the state comes in a particular allocation, and we have the option to overspend that amount with different programming and purchase additional dollars from other counties. So this is a generous offer by Otero County to sell $50,000 of their TANF funds to us. And we did two things this year, in addition to our basic TANF caseload. One was contract with C4 for energy assistance and health and safety and case management. The other was funding for Dr. Courtney Russell to see community members for behavioral health. That's background news from me.
Okay, and can you remind me, is there, how do, what are we paying? What is the budgeted amount?
We pay the MOU on these, which is about 15%.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
But we took the MOU relief when we first get our allocation, which means we don't pay the MOU on those original dollars, but we pay it when we go to purchase from other counties. So, yeah.
Gotcha, okay. I don't have any other.
I don't either.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
So I think let's just look for a motion to approve.
Yeah.
Are we approving an MOU? We're approving the MOU with them?
You're approving the letter. It's
Okay.
a funds transfer letter, yes.
So motion to approve the fund transfer letter.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the the TANF fund transfer letter with Otero County.
Great, I'll second. Look for a vote.
Yes.
Yes for me, so the letter is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Janine.
Okay, on to agenda item number 15, discussion and consideration of liquor license number 0315756, which is a renewal for Tres Coronas LLC, doing business as Lamina Tecos and Mariscos.
So we received the paperwork from the Department of Revenue. Laminia's has done all of that, and they have paid their local fee as well as their state fee. So we just need a signature on the state paperwork to send it back for their renewal.
Great.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the liquor license renewal for La Mina Tacos y Mariscos.
I'll second. Call for vote.
Yes.
Yes for me, so that is approved. Great, thank you. And on to 16, discussion and consideration of liquor license 03-14701, also a renewal for Fast Stop 1166.
So this is the same scenario. I received their renewal paperwork from the Department of Revenue. It was completed. So they paid their state as well as their local fee, and we just need y'all to sign that again to send it back to the DOR.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the liquor license renewal for Fast Stop 1166 Incorporated.
I'll second. I just had a quick question. What is that location? Which Fast Stop
That's
is that?
Saturdays, but
That's
they're
Saturdays,
not marked
okay.
as doing business as.
Okay,
So like, that's a secret name.
that's a secret name. Yeah, okay, great. I wasn't sure which of their locations it was. Then call for a vote.
Yes.
Yes for me. So that is approved, the renewal for 03-14701, Fast Stop 1166 Inc. Okay, wow, amazing. So I think we're on to the public planner and agenda items for next week.
Yep, so in order to streamline the public planner as well as have all of you commissioners present to review, Tim would like to move the review of the planner and agendas to the regular meetings. So this is the calendar on the main page. Let me show you how I got there. So I went ahead and adjusted items that were on y'all's calendar onto the main calendar that were public meetings. So from here, I clicked on view all events, and then I move it to week. And this is what we have going on next week. This is this week. That's not near as fun. And I will probably be doing a paper planner as well. I went ahead and did one for this week, posted on the website as well as the front doors. But on Monday, we have planning commission. There are quite a few Board of Education meetings for the Lake County School District starting next week, and this weekend. Lake County Public Library Board of Trustees, we have work sessions, community coffee, E911 Authority, Leadville Lake County Regional Housing Authority, super cool bike race.
Can I ask you a question on the Public Library Board of Trustees? Do we, I mean, we don't attend that anymore, right?
So I think it's the philosophy of what to do. Sarah has me posted a lot of stuff like the sanitation district meeting
Yeah, okay.
that none of y'all are
Yeah.
on. So I think that as we explore different ways to do the planner, think about what we wanna put on there. If it's really just BOCC centric items that y'all may go to, fantastic. If it's stuff that we wanna bring awareness to our community, also fantastic. So whatever guidance that y'all wanna do, great. These are the items I am seeing for next week across the 3 of your calendars.
Okay.
Cool. Great. So now, let's look at the work session for next week.
Wait, sorry, I'm sorry, did, you were very quick with that.
Cause we got
Do
a
we
lot
have,
to
was the Lacoste meeting on there?
I
I-
didn't see a Lacoste meeting, is it on your calendar?
I have a May 16th, 9 AM Lacoste meeting that Jane has on my calendar, and it is on Sarah's too.
I will add that.
And then I'll go to the Ski Cooper board meeting, but that's not public. And not our meeting, so it's okay. Have we been posting the fire management board meetings, cause that is Friday the 17th.
You are correct, so my panic calendar populating yesterday morning was really for this week. And I did miss some things on the week of the 13th, so I will get fire management and I will get Lacoste onto the main calendar for y'all's meetings.
And then I have housing authority as well.
Yeah, I got that one.
Okay, great.
Come on, Jeff, I got one of them, right?
Okay.
Excellent, and I will check them weekly to see if anything else pops up, just so we can capture those for our community.
Okay.
Alright, so next week you'll have a 9 AM and an 11 AM work session. So at the 9 AM, Dana Foley is gonna come up from CTSI and do our 5-year loss analysis.
Oh, yeah.
I know everyone looks really forward to that. And then it sounds like we're gonna have a discussion and overview on alcohol on county properties with a special liquor licensing permit. How does that sound? And we can kind of talk through that? Cool, someone really important is gonna lead the discussion.
And I feel like it should be, I'm just trying to think of like which staff probably wanna have a say in this, because certainly rec, right?
Exactly.
Because that's a lot of their facilities. CPD, I think public health, cause some of the things are, like what could happen at these facilities, and then legal,
And,
yeah.
Cool, so
Anyone else
maybe Michael, facilities?
Yeah,
Okay, so I will start an email thread with all these folks so we can get our thoughts, feelings, and opinions, and then maybe come to a cohesive presentation for this. This is gonna be, I suspect, pretty short. Dina assured me 30 minutes, so that means 45.
okay.
I would say 45 for this. Would it be possible, do you feel comfortable scheduling a special to work with Hillary Homer after the work session to decide whether we can have alcohol or not at the rodeo?
So have us post it on this day right after, I think so, let's try, I
I think that would
I don't think it's like super complicated, we just have to like,
Decide what you
Decide.
want to do, yes, I agree. So after the work session, you should have an idea of what you wanna do, and I think
Yeah.
it'd be very appropriate to plug them in
just
if we can.
decide.
Yep, and logistically, that makes sense because they do have applications in for special permits for liquor
Yeah.
licensing. And that will give us time for postings to make it for the May 21st meeting. Cool.
Good.
Okay, so that is gonna be your morning. I will schedule a special meeting as well. And then in the afternoon, Catherine Greer is gonna be leading an overview of the proposed Lake County grant policy. And then so if you're like, yep, this grant policy is awesome, we will draft a policy adoption resolution that will be correctly numbered, maybe, for the 21st agenda.
Yeah. That's great.
Cool.
Something I'd be interested in, or I'm not sure when it's on, it might be on a later work session, is I think we had talked about sort of like revisiting kind of facilities management plan with a focus on Justice Center.
The 28th,
Okay,
that
is
works.
that, sorry, and
Okay.
sorry not raised this with you and Tim earlier, but I'm wondering if we wanna, like, we have this deadline we just learned about with the federal USDA grant. And I'm just wondering if I wonder if we wanna put a placeholder in the 1 PM session to try to do that work session sooner in case we are still trying to access that grant.
Okay, so on the
Good job.
28th, I had, that's not right. Oh, Community Justice Center update, seeking guidance from the board, what are the options, what is next? Building renovations, repairs, what is really feasible? Clearly, I'm gonna make them into real sentences, but this is
Yeah,
weeks from now.
but-
So you want to move this to the one,
I'm tempted to post this, I mean, just for the purposes of posting, so we can talk about it if we're ready.
cool,
I don't wanna like freak people out or like not be ready for that discussion, but I think because we are, to my understanding, under a tough deadline to get our materials into USDA to access that 3.5 million. Like, I just don't wanna wait until the end of May and then be like, oh, but now, you know, that now we can't. Cause there's like a 4-page list of documents that have to be in that application, it's bananas.
okay, so discussion of grant application.
Oh, yeah, I think that's, I mean, that, but I think whatever you were gonna write.
I'll just
I mean,
add
I
this
think
in there
you cut and paste number 2, and we can dial it back to just the grant application discussion and even just understand whether we still can meet that deadline. And again, not to rush things, but I think if we're ready by next week, I mean, I think we know a lot of stuff to have that discussion, right?
Cool.
I mean that there's a question mark at the end of that, but I don't think we're gathering a whole bunch more research. I think we've done a lot of work on that project.
There's time in that day to
Yeah.
have that discussion, Catherine will be there, which is a good player.
Oh, yeah.
I will invite Angel, Gloria, Heath, and Benny to the work session. Anyone else for that topic?
I mean, we should probably see if DPM, Colleen Canada can make it, cause I think she will be the holder of knowledge on some pretty important stuff. I mean, I think she'll know, sorry, rather than say like important stuff, I mean, I think she'll know where things stand with like, are we at 100% construction documents on everything? What are the outstanding issues?
Okay, oh no, I gave up on that. I knew it was a K and this is further that. This is later.
I might just like make sure Stephanie, I think Stephanie's the holder of the spreadsheet of
Okay.
whether we can, whether, you know, like revenues and expenditure projections, which will inform, you know, understanding whether we can afford this.
Also invite everybody. But I'll see that if we can
Yeah.
kind of bring some clarity to it. So I'll still have a placeholder for this on the 28th, and we can kind of see what needs to happen next after Tuesday.
Yeah, and we can fine tune, you know, we can dial back having to tackle everything if we aren't ready, but I think having it on so we can start the discussions would be helpful. Cause there's a lot to dig into in that, so I think, yeah.
Cool. So now that brings you to,
Executive session.
Yep. And I just texted Adam Bay. Is that
Adam and Bryce.
Yeah, I think Bryce is in Zoom land.
Yeah, right, oh, both of them are on Zoom, okay.
Okay, so let's get the list of who we're inviting in. We're inviting Adam Bay, Bryce Ehrlich, county attorney and staff.
Yes.
Was that good?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I'm not expecting anybody else.
okay.
I saw Ann pop her head in, I didn't know if she's planning on.
She's got another
Here's
1
Bryce.
o'clock, so.
Okay,
Bryce is here though, so.
okay.
They're posted up at your desk for
What is? Oh, in my special office? Oh, it's really fun, isn't it?
Are you gonna make a motion?
Yeah, no, I was gonna,
Sorry, I
I have so many things for you to sign,
Yeah.
don't go anywhere. We'll deal with it later.
so how to go into executive session on these, if you're ready, we read out this text on number 18.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah,
Melissa, could you unplug that right there for me, please?
or Chris, just procedurally, or Chris or Tracy. Is it, I mean, can I make the motion as chair if Al's dealing with a quick thing? Okay.
Yeah, it's just there's nothing wrong with you making motions, it's
I
just
think
typically the chair.
customarily I tried, yeah, okay,
There's no
but
problem
just,
with you doing
to move things along, I'll go ahead and make the motion, so I move that we go into executive session to consider the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of real, personal, or other property pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 subsection 4A, and to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, develop a strategy for negotiations, and or instruct negotiators pursuant to CRS 24-6-402 subsection 4E. And for this session, we will invite in addition to the commissioners, Adam Bay, Director of Pros, Bryce Ehrlich for CPD, and the County Attorney's Office, and County Attorney staff. So that is the motion on the table. If I could get a second.
I second the motion.
And call for a vote, yes? Or-
Yes.
Yes, yes for me, so the motion is approved. We'll go into executive session and give us this.
Give you the mouse and the keyboard.
Okay,
Go into a breakout room or however you wanna use it.
I was gonna say, because I know Adam's via Zoom, so you might,
Asked me to text him and I said it is time 5 minutes ago, so I bet you he is on
everybody's on its way, that's on his, yeah.
thank you,
So we
Tracy.
can, if that's the case, if we don't need a breakout room, if there's nobody else on there besides county staff, we can just mute
Okay,
that.